All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at how a fascinating 3,000-year-old text perfectly maps out the modern psychology of keeping a secret. Seriously, human nature hasn't changed a bit. The biological and psychological mechanisms of holding a secret are exactly the same today as they were millennia ago. When you bottle up guilt, your mind and your body react, and this remarkable poem gives us a front-row seat to that exact psychological journey.
So can a 3,000-year-old poem actually explain the physical toll of a guilty conscience? It's such a universal question, right? No matter who you are or what era you live in, the burden of an unconfessed secret just weighs incredibly heavy. Today, we're going to explore exactly how that unconfessed guilt manifests physically in the human body, relying on an incredible piece of historical literature.
Our source material today is Psalm 32, specifically from the English Standard Version. It's titled, "Blessed are the Forgiven," and it's this beautiful 11-verse poem. But here's the thing, it is not just poetry. It's packed with intriguing structural markers that we're going to decode together. It's basically a masterclass in the human experience, laid out right before us on the page.
Section 1. The Weight of Guilt.
Okay, so before we get into the speaker's pain, we've got to look at the baseline of peace. The text praises the person with no deceit in their spirit. But right at the top of the text, there's a fascinating footnote for the phrase, a maskil of David. Turns out, a maskil is most likely a musical or liturgical term. I mean, think about what that implies. This deeply personal text about carrying a dark secret wasn't meant for a locked diary. It was actually meant to be sung and shared publicly.
Moving on to Section 2, the agony of silence. With that public context in the back of our minds, the narrative just plunges us straight into the suffocating depths of guilt. The text says, "For when I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long." Wow, you can genuinely feel the physical, somatic agony of silence here. And modern psychology totally backs this up. Carrying a heavy secret triggers an ongoing stress response, releasing cortisol that quite literally exhausts the physical body.
Notice the really profound contrast happening here. Externally, there's this crushing pressure. The speaker feels like a heavy hand is pressing down on them day and night. But internally, complete exhaustion. They say my strength was dried up as by the heat of summer. And there's a footnote revealing that the original Hebrew actually translates to my vitality was changed. It's like the secret is draining their life force away.
Then, right at the end of verse 4, just after that vivid description of summer heat, we hit the word Seleah. You'll see this marker appearing at the end of verses 4, 5, and 7. It's a brilliant structural moment that acts like a forced, mindful pause. It's an invitation for us and the original listeners to just stop, take a breath, sit with that heavy, breathless exhaustion for a second before the narrative moves forward.
Section 3. The Pivot of Confession.
So we've hit absolute emotional rock bottom, and the speaker simply can't take the toll anymore. The agonizing silence finally breaks. The very second the speaker decides to stop covering their own sin and says, "I will confess my transgressions," boom, the resolution is instant. The Lord steps in and immediately forgives the iniquity. The cover-up ends, the forgiveness flows, and the whole thing is perfectly capped off by another Selah, just to let that immense wave of relief sink in.
Which brings us to Section 4, a hiding place.
Rising back up out of those dark depths, the tension is just completely gone, replaced by this profound sense of security. The speaker uses a stunning metaphor here. Surely in the rush of great waters, they shall not reach him. It's basically a psychological promise. Once the truth is spoken and the burden is lifted, you're safe. Even when chaotic, overwhelming life events crash in around you like a flood, they can't destroy someone who lives without deceit.
The text then lays out 3 massive benefits of this confession. The Lord becomes a hiding place, preserves them from trouble, and surrounds the speaker with shouts of deliverance. Just look at that contrast. That heavy, silent, agonizing groaning we saw back in verse 3 has been wonderfully, completely replaced by joyful shouts. The sheer psychological burden of that cognitive dissonance has just totally evaporated.
Section 5. Don't be a mule.
Now, the whole dynamic of the poem shifts gears here in verses 8 and 9. The speaker moves from talking about their personal pain to acting more like a guide, saying, "I will counsel you with my eye upon you." And the analogy they use is absolutely fantastic. They say, "Be not like a horse or a mule, without understanding, which must be curbed with bit and bridle."
It is honestly kind of hilarious how perfectly that captures our stubborn human nature. We so often have to be dragged through pain and exhaustion by a metaphorical bit and bridle just to learn the simple lesson of being honest.
And finally, Section 6, the final contrast.
The journey from silence to confession is complete, leaving us with one ultimate takeaway. We get this really stark contrast. Many are the sorrows of the wicked, which instantly brings us back to that heavy, silent groaning we mapped out earlier. But on the flip side, steadfast love surrounds the one who trusts. This contrast leads straight into the text's final command. If you are living upright and without deceit, you are commanded to be glad, rejoice, and shout for joy.
I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. Are you carrying the heavy heat of silence, or are you ready to speak? Think about the literal, physical, and mental toll of deceit we just explored. Which side of this ancient yet perfectly accurate psychological journey are you currently on? It's a powerful thing to consider, and I really hope this deep dive has given you the clarity to find your own shouts of deliverance.